What is up, guys? So, the first ever podcast that we're running. Welcome to the Unassisted Podcast. It was a while we were really deliberating the name we were going to go with. I hope people like this name. We had to make it somewhat about natural bodybuilding, and I guess it is fully about the fact that we're natural. But yeah, I think it's pretty decent. What do you think, Elliot?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I well, we're gonna go with no gear, no problem. Well, that would be a little bit too inflammatory. So
Yeah,
yeah,
a little bit too much.
yeah. But people are gonna have a problem with the name anyway because I think people just don't like when naturals make a lot of things
It's
about
shoving
natural
the yeah,
feeling. Yeah, and like shove it
yeah,
down your face.
yeah.
We don't care. So
Yeah, people always say to me, "You mention you're natural all the time, so you can't be natural." And I'm just like, "Well, maybe I'm actually natural, and I like to mention that I'm natural all the time, all the time." Like, I don't
yeah,
understand that kind of philosophy, but yeah, it'll be good to. I'm sure some people will be watching this a little bit triggered, maybe, but yeah. But yeah, so first podcast, really excited to do this. We're gonna make this a regular thing. It's not gonna be like one podcast and then that's it. So yeah, this will be the first one, and I hope you guys enjoy it. But yeah, essentially, myself and Elliot are gonna just have a chat. Keep it pretty simple. Talk about all things bodybuilding related, natural bodybuilding. We're both goes back to that point about talking about natural bodybuilding, but we also love bodybuilding. So it's not just going to be exclusive to the natty side of things. But yeah, it'll be fun to listen to. There'll be some entertainment, and also it'll be educational as well, because I think that's a good thing to do as well. But yeah, so first and foremost, I think we'll just talk about what we've been doing so far in terms of, like, Elliot, you're in prep right now, right?
yeah,
So,
man. Yeah, yeah. 21 weeks out currently.
yeah,
So
it's crazy.
yeah,
It's
man.
flying by, I swear. Seems like you were starting prep like a couple of weeks ago, and it's been how many weeks?
Yeah, seven. I'm 7 weeks in now. I'm down like eight kilos.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, this is going pretty quick. And yeah, so far so good to be honest. It's not been that long. So yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So, how's performance been if you've lost 8 kilos in 7 weeks? Do you feel like it's
Yeah.
still been absolutely fine?
Yeah. It's been good to be fair.
Hmm.
I feel like that's been smooth. I just had an issue with my knee recently. It was just so
Yeah,
random.
so
Yeah, it was so random. My legs have been fine, like my joints have been all good, my knees have been good. But then I had a moment on the leg press
hmm.
last week, last Sunday, and I just couldn't bend my leg. Like I got
Yeah.
up from my warm-up set and my knee I got this intense pain at the front of my knee.
Hmm.
Yeah, I literally couldn't do anything. Tried to go on the leg extension, wasn't happening. Couldn't do a glute bridge, like body weight. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Did
Um,
did anything change leading up to that? Is there anything you can pinpoint?
Nah, no, just a random thing. I had
Yeah.
something similar, like a week before that, and I stretched on some mobility. Um, as it happened, it just went away.
Hmm.
Like it from intense pain to nothing.
Hmm.
So I don't know, but
It's frustrating when that happens, because I don't know if you saw, like, I just picked up that SI joint injury pulling off the floor,
that's classic.
which made no, I honestly, I felt amazing. First rep flew. I was really confident in the set. And then just this ping.
Mm,
Initially, I was like, oh God, like this is bad. Like I had to lie on the floor. It really hurt. And fortunately, it's been getting better, but I just don't get why it happened. So yeah, sometimes you can't control it. But I think I'm gonna swap over to the RDLs, because I've been doing stiff legs for so long, and they were going amazingly. To be fair, they were going great. But I got ill, and then performance went down a little bit, mostly a skill sort of thing. And now this is kind of just took me a step back, and I just rather start fresh before prep. And I think a remaining deadlift is a little bit easier to retain in a prep. You can have a
yeah.
bit more ownership through it. So on a stiff leg, like when you're dieting, that first rep just starts to become an absolute battle. The first rep
I,
is, yeah.
I can't even imagine, to be honest. I've never done a prep and done
Done stiff.
a pull off the floor. No.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But for
Um,
your height, you don't need to, you don't really need
bro.
to at all. Yeah.
Because I was doing deadlifts conventional in the
Mm.
off season
Yeah, yeah.
uh, before I moved to Manchester, and it just got to a point where I was just getting hurt. I
Mm.
was just getting hurt. I ran up for a bit, got to about 5 plates, and then around that mark, yeah, just started getting hurt, like
Getting
pinging.
Yeah, this happened with Richard as well. So it's just that height. It's just when you're forced into a level of stretch where your hips cannot just go into an anterior tilt and they tuck under, and you're in like
Yeah,
that position and you pull from there. That's when something pings. It's just all been really pulled. So Richard would be progressing a lot, and then suddenly his back would be done in again. And I told him we needed to pull off blocks. So he's doing that now, and he's great. But it's just I think sometimes people pull off blocks when they don't need to pull off blocks. They just need to improve their mobility.
yeah,
But then some people need to just accept that blocks are fine. It's not that you're less hardcore, because like for you, you could pull off some blocks, and I reckon the level of stretch you would go through would be way more than mine still,
yeah.
potentially. Yeah,
Do you
like
remember? Do you remember that? Remember that Form Police account? Form Police on
yeah,
Instagram.
yeah,
I was pulling. I When I was coaching with Callum,
yeah.
he got me to pull off blocks, and I remember I posted it on my story, and he came like that Form Police guy came in my DMs like, "What are you doing, mate? Like, that's not how you do better." So I feel like as soon as people see blocks, they're just like, "Ah, it's not a
to
real deadlift." People
to be
don't
fair,
understand
I think
averages.
I've featured on the Form Police a few times myself. So I think they shared me a good few times doing yeah buddy rows. I think yeah buddy rows is a big trend obviously now, and it seems a lot more accepted. But back in the day, I used to row like 190 for like 6 reps row, and yeah that featured a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
but my form was debatable back in the day. Yeah,
But yeah, no, I definitely, yeah. People's leverages, like everyone's so different for like, yeah, pulling off a floor. That's obviously just the standard. You can't change anything about that. But when you obviously move
Mm.
it up to a block or whatever, you can kind of make it fit you a little bit better.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
in sense.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. But that being said, I definitely don't agree with people doing like rack pulls, which is like just below the knee and stuff like that.
yeah,
Yeah, that just seems pointless. But yeah, so 21 weeks out, obviously you've lost 8 kilos now, and you said you feel really good. Interestingly, with that, I think again something working with Richard that we discovered. Obviously, he's a scaffolder, so when we did this bulk, which he's packed on loads of muscle, to be fair to him, but in retrospect now we've learned, like I think pushing up that far is actually quite gets very challenging, especially because he's a scaffolder. I don't know if you find performances going so well because you're still 105 kilos, which is still heavy, but like when you're 110, I don't know if you get like slight mobility problems or you feel worse in the gym, you just feel better now in the gym, feel looser, and you feel like you can train a bit better. Because I feel like you don't think about that. For me, I never think about that because I'm always so light. Like the heaviest I am is what, like 95 kilos. That's like the lightest you ever are, really. So
yeah,
for people that are pushing up to, 110, 115, 120, I think it depends on your lifestyle. But I think for a lot of people, performance is going to be pretty tricky at that stage. Yeah.
yeah, 100%. For me, it's about 115 kilos. Once I get around there, mobility is just, yeah, an issue. The gym's okay. Like
Mm.
I'm relatively strong, but not any more strong than what I am at really 105. I can still
Yeah.
retain that performance. Like it's not like I get down to
Yeah. Yeah.
105. I just wither away. So
Yeah. Yeah. Like Rich is right now like 100 kgs and he's like at peak performance. Yeah. It feels amazing. Like a few kilos from pills. Yeah. Which is
yeah,
crazy. So, yeah, everyone's different, obviously, but yeah, you do learn these things along the way. for sure. So, but yeah, 21 weeks out. What is the plan from here onwards? What shows are you running? Where do you plan to push bodyweight through to? And so on. Just actually, I'll just add for people watching, like Elliot, you self coach. So Elliot's not with a coach this time. He wants to run it himself and just see, how it goes to self coaching, which I really respect. But yeah,
Yeah. So the initial show is a PCA show
hmm
on the 7th of July, and I will then take a bit of a diet break for the shows later in the year.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
Standard Natty, Feds,
mm,
UKDFBF, MBF, and BAMBF maybe. I do want to compete abroad, but we'll see. I kind of just want to be within striking distance or in shape for quite a while. So if I want to enter shows, I just can. Like it just
yeah,
really just peaking.
hmm
Uh, so yeah, I'm well aware that like it's going to be a long season and it's going to be a period of time where like I'm probably not going to feel great, but
You
yeah,
just got yeah, yeah, just got to reverse up. I saw was it Dirk? Dirk did the Dubai show. He was pretty much pilled there, but
yeah,
then he did the WVF way later. But he reversed from 4 weeks out, I think. Like I think he just reversed his food from 4 weeks out into the WF, and that WF look for him looked the best I've seen. And I honestly think that's the best peak. It's so predictable when you can reverse for 4 weeks. Like it's so easy to control. There's no risk. You know exactly what you're bringing every single day, and you can just adjust it so easily. And yeah, I think you'll be fine with just doing that. It's just about knowing when to step off the gas pedal because, especially because self coaching, like you can go down a little bit of a rabbit hole of like getting pilled. But yeah, I mean, I can always, if you need an objective eye at some point,
I can always get some free coaching if I want. So
yeah, yeah. But yeah, like I remember myself, I competed UK FBA, what was it, the Caledonian Classic back in the day. They used to do a show. I think it was in Edinburgh. And
solid,
to be
yeah.
fair, like I was lean, but I was not pilled. I was in okay shape, but yeah, I wasn't pilled. And then after that show, I just reversed up for a while, reverse calories. Training was absolutely going amazing. Like I felt great. And then did that for like 6 weeks maybe, and then went back into prep and fat loss. And then finals is like the best like ever. So improved. I actually grew a little bit in between that of reversing because training was going well. And it was my best look that season without a doubt, like by a mile. And then I won the juniors. After not winning the qualifier, I won the juniors at the finals. So yeah, I 100% think you can manage it. Like you just got to be smart with how you reverse. Yeah, obviously just don't keep doing fat loss all the way through until well, so what's the latest show that you plan to do? Will you do you think you'll be doing like the MBW if you can get to that point?
Maybe. We'll see, honestly.
Yeah, if you
We'll
can get
see.
to October. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I think it's honestly just a case of being ready with regards to fat loss pretty early, especially with my body, especially with being tall. It's really important for me to be blasting full. I can't be just
Yeah.
like just finished my fat loss like a week earlier, just
Mm.
about finished, and now I'm trying to load up and get fresh. It just
Without a
doesn't.
doubt. 100%.
Yeah, I need to be like, because right now I'm only 6 kilos away from my previous stage weight.
Mm.
So it's just a case of, I've even been doing it recently where like each week really since starting prep, I've been having like 2 eye days
Yeah,
a
yeah.
week. I'm just, like watching the average on the week. I'm just watching the scale. There's a voice in the back of my mind that's like, just keep chasing the lows, keep chasing, but
Yeah.
happening anyway. So like, I just need to make sure that things aren't moving too quickly. I'm ahead of schedule. So
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
yeah, I just got to give myself enough time to get fresh and load up properly. And yeah, it makes a difference.
Yeah, it definitely does, especially for you. Like you'll need a lot of food. So having more time, 100%, so important. And I think for you, like you just look way more, you just look so much more impressive when you're very full on stage because you got very round muscle bellies and you're tall as well. So you don't want to have that like very dry but pill, but not like round look to your arms and your limbs. I think getting them bursting full is key.
Mm.
Yeah.
but embrace that like f suffering, well, not suffering, but just like not feeling good for a period of time and just holding there and just like
Mm.
picking up food and yeah. Um, yeah, it's really important. But yeah, so 21 weeks out from the first show and then have a break. I'm actually going to Malta.
No,
Uh,
nice.
yeah, I'm going to Malta for 3 days. Um,
To be fair, I'm planning to go to Corfu with 10 of my mates for a week.
wow.
So yeah, I'm in 2022. It's like similar, it's actually the same time, I think, to 2022. I went to Sicily for a week and it was like so good for me in prep. So we had a villa. I just cooked my meals. I'm paying a little bit of extra money to secure the nicer room, and I can get my own room and everything, so I can get good sleep. And then I'll just find like a nice gym there. I'll deload. I'll plan my deload for that week. So if it's different training kit, it's not the end of the world. And yeah, it's just I think like when you're in prep, you can go 35 weeks living in a cave, and I can't do this, I can't do that because you're scared of being around just like things that might tempt you or so on. But if you can just listen, anyone watching this that's going through prep, if you can deal with temptation as well as possible, and you can always put yourself in those situations and not care, you will enjoy your prep way more because you will see friends, you will not shut off everything that's important to you. And that mindset when you're in prep, if you shut people out, you will pay for it when you come out of prep. Like you will look back, especially if you place not where you want, you'll look back and think, what the fuck was I doing this for? So I've learned that myself, like 100% in preps, which have ended well. I just look back on it and think, shit, I need to be a bit more like make an effort because. So yeah, absolutely. I think going to Malta is fine. It's just like I wouldn't obviously don't go away when you're sub 6 weeks out and you're absolutely pilled. But like, well, are you going Malta?
No, no, I'm
Yeah,
literally going for 10 days. Yeah,
are you going
so
in
I'll be
10 days?
2 weeks
Yeah, yeah.
out. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it'll be the first time I've gone away on a prep. And yeah, I think initially there's that almost that anxiety, but just
About changing
when
routine. Yeah.
yeah, just change your routine. But you just have to realize that all it is literally just the same thing, but just somewhere, just food, control your
Yeah,
food,
yeah. 100%.
break, and that like it's really simple. But I think yeah, because we're very reclusive as bodybuilders normally.
Mm,
Yeah, it causes a lot of anxiety. But yeah, it is really important to still do things like that on prep. But
yeah.
yeah, if you're peeled or in peak week, I wouldn't recommend going to an all-inclusive.
Yeah, yeah, all inclusive probably stay away from. But
Yeah.
yeah, Airbnbs, where you can cook and stuff is, it's great. Um, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And then I'll be in Greece again in September, but for clients competing. So that'll be interesting because I will be like 4 weeks out. But obviously,
Yeah. Yeah. When are you starting prep? Because you've come back from the dead with that
I'm
illness.
back from the dead. Yeah, yeah.
When are you?
So the look is getting there, to be fair. The look is getting close to where I was. It's still kind of like the check-in I took before I got ill was by a mile, like the best check-in I ever took. Like even when I took it, I was like, what the hell's going on? Like everything was just so aligned, maybe on that day. So I was just trying to get back to that look. And if I can get back to that look before prep, I'm more than happy. I'm also equally aware that like I feel like if I don't get back to that look, but then I go into prep, I think it will still come back in the sense of protecting performance is still going to be way easier because I'm still getting back to previous positions I was. So I think muscle memory is a very crazy thing, and I do think you can reacquire muscle in a deficit if you previously reacquire. You can put muscle on back on maybe a bit more gradually, but in a deficit. So I'm not too worried. It's just yeah, it's been an interesting few weeks because I've gained 6.5 kilograms in 3 weeks. So that rate of gain just makes you look watery. Yeah. So I just looked way more watery than I did at the same body weight because before I gained like 0.1, 0.1, like then I went down a little bit actually, then went up another 0.2 or something. Like I was so steady for the whole month that I looked so lean. And it's just about understanding once I enter the deficit, I think that will just flush off pretty quick. But yeah, so prep is probably starting in 2 weeks. 17th of March, I think we're going for. That is because I'm gonna have a call with AJ in a week, maybe or just before we kick things off to finalize the shows that I do. But there is the chance that I will be competing on at the WBF UK September the 13th, which isn't that long away realistically. So for where I'm at, so I need to get moving. But yeah, still not completely 100% sure if I'm going to do that or not, whether I'll enter it or not. I have to kind of weigh up a few things and figure things out. So just to explain, like WBF UK, WBF, you have to acquire that specific pro card, the WBF pro card to do pro shows. Other federations, you can kind of transfer over sometimes and let you enter pro shows. So AMBF, the MBW International, and I hope the BMBF will let me, the pro show there will let me enter. But to do WBF Worlds, I need to get the pro card. So I'm forced into a position potentially where my first show will be as an amateur, which is fine, but it does feel a bit weird because I've gone the last 2 years thinking, oh, my first show is going to be pro debut, and now it's
Yeah.
not, which is just a bit of an odd one. It also will be that it also means I'll be against clients in amateurs in an amateur lineup, which is a bit of an odd one as well. Like I have no issues competing against clients in pro classes because I think it's a bit different. But when you know you're going up against first timers or people trying to also get pro cards and you've already got a pro card in.
Yeah.
So but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Nothing's fully planned yet. I mean, AMBF, MBW, I'm 100% doing those shows. So
The AMBF one is abroad. You're doing that
in
abroad.
Austria, yeah, this is an amazing show. It looks so cool. I remember watching it, just thinking like, wow, I'm going to do this show next year. Like it was
Yeah,
really, really
they
cool.
look like they nailed that. The live
Yeah.
stream, the like
Yeah,
footage, photos, yeah, look crazy.
looks so good. Yeah, I really, really want to do that. And then I'm also tempted to do like maybe like a IFBB classic show, maybe.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The like the two bros shows they have the finals in France usually, don't they? You end up doing
Yeah. I don't see this is also I part of me wants to just see what happens. I want to maybe do like an assisted show
oh okay, I
just to
see.
see. Like that's not me saying I'm going to win and beat assisted people. I just want to see how I stand in a lineup like that. Because in my opinion, I'm not really ever thinking about going down this route. But if your goal is to go assisted and be like, well, anyone that wants to go assisted and go in the IFBB, they're doing it because they want to be at the Olympia and be like a top Olympian, right? If that's going to happen, you kind of realistically need to be good enough to go in a regional amateur assisted lineup and kind of be at least top three or winning, you know? If you can't do that, then can you really go all the way? That's just because I've seen that with the people that have done that. So I
Yeah.
would just be intrigued to see how I do. Obviously, I'm still young, so I might get smoked. I might need more time, but I would just like to see how that goes, you know?
I feel like you'd, yeah, I think you'd do pretty well. I feel like sometimes you watch these shows, the untested shows, and watching on, you think, oh, I feel like I'd get smoked. But in classic, when there's weight
Mm,
and when you're conditioned and
when you're
peeled,
pilled, yeah, yeah. That's
yeah, like on stage, I think it'll be a different story. So yeah, that would be interesting to see, man.
also
That'd be,
because in classic, especially IFBB, all the poses they don't hit, other than the most muscular, they kind of some are good poses for me, but like I don't have to hit a rear lat spread and I don't have to hit a front lat spread. And I think those are my weakest poses, in my opinion.
Right.
Especially my rear lat spread. Like my back double was strong for my back, but my rear lat spread isn't really. And then my front lat spread is okay-ish. Like I don't have to hit them. Whereas my side shots are pretty strong. Like my side chest, my front double, like the favorite classic pose would look good for me. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I think you would have the advantage as well, especially coming from a natural federation or competing in natural federations before. I think the condition would be, I think, at another level compared to
Yeah,
guys who've
potentially, yeah.
had that experience before.
Mm.
And this might be maybe one of their first shows or their first season. Um,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But on the topic of IFBB, the Arnold Classic has just finished. So I thought we would just go over that. What was your thoughts anyway on it? Did you manage to watch much of it or
yeah, yeah, I caught some highlights. Yeah, it looked great. Everyone looked really good. Everyone in like, to be honest, the top six, top
yeah.
seven. And the lighting was really good at the show as well.
Yeah, the lighting was very good, yeah.
Yeah,
So good.
which doesn't normally happen at a lot of these pro shows. But yeah, well, I feel like the Arnold Classic, they do a pretty good job usually.
Mm,
But yeah, everyone I think looked great. And I think annoyingly, sadly, the right guy won.
yeah,
I did
100%.
want to see Samson win, but yeah, I think Derek deserved it, to be
No,
honest.
I agree. I think the more I watched it, the more I realized Samson was just a little bit soft. Yeah. And Derek
Yeah.
was super sharp. Yeah, we'll get some highlights up of it so we can see. But yeah, I think someone commented this and I can't really answer it, but Derek's just likes it. But yeah, Derek's got an interesting physique because his legs are so short and his torso is really long, kind of like mine. But then the weird thing about it is his torso is like crazy developed and then his legs are less developed. You think it'd be the other way around. If you have a long torso,
Mm.
typically your back is like a bit weaker, and then your legs are if you have really short legs, your legs are way stronger. So yeah, you do notice it. Like his legs are very short compared to like everyone else's.
Yeah.
But yeah, if Derek had Samson's legs, like I don't think anyone would be beating him at the Olympia, like he just needs more size in his quads, especially like the depth to the quads. But yeah, I still think Derek deserved to win, mainly because of this. And the reason what I thought was when I was watching it, every pose was close. Then like it was kind of like 50-50. But then Samson beat Derek in the most muscular. And then Derek beat Samson in the back double bicep. But Derek to me smashed Samson here, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Whereas the most muscular, Samson size wise did also smash Derek, but the conditioning made it less of an extreme.
Mm.
Whereas Derek has the size and the conditioning in this shot. So I would have gone for Derek 100% because of that. Even here though, it's just more polished when you're that conditioned, and it will show in person. Like when you're there watching it, the condition would be even more impressionable. Yeah, he definitely improved a lot.
Well, I was watching this interview with the guys that do the It's Just Bodybuilding podcast, and they were like, because they were there, and they were like, it actually wasn't even close. Like seeing them in person and just seeing like how polished Derek was, and
Yeah,
just the discrepancy in conditioning as well. I really like Samson, and I want to see him win, and I think he deserved the Olympia win. But I think for this show, he was just a little bit too soft. He doesn't need Derek's conditioning, or he doesn't need that level of detail because he's so big and he's the heaviest guy on stage.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, he was just a little bit too soft. Like I don't
But
think
if
he could have
yeah,
well.
but I don't know when he's ever gonna like. Don't get me wrong, he has been a bit better than this condition wise, but I still don't think we've seen him absolutely nail it. But I don't know if it's just I'm not sure. I think he's always heavier. Like I think he should try and be lighter one day. Just
Mm.
obviously when you're growing that much, that might not happen, but stop aiming to put on so much weight and just focus on just bringing that conditioning because he doesn't need it. Like there's nowhere close in the size aspect other than the back double. So
Yeah, I think because what Derek's like, what, 230, 240, somewhere
yeah,
around.
yeah,
That's for like,
100%. Yeah, you know what I find interesting though is like you're watching these two pose here. They don't have any chest striations really at all. Samsung has a bit there, but it's not like their chests are not not that conditioned. That's obviously that's Derek's weakness. I think with conditioning, like his chest.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm not sure why he never ever has like crazy chest detail. Like you compare it to like Haddy. Like Haddy's just so dry everywhere. Or even like this guy, like he was pilled. He was really impressive to be fair.
great improvements to his back as well. I think that was his
Yeah,
weaker point from before. It definitely looks improved. The guy that really, obviously, Mike, Mike was great. Mike the Badass
yeah, he was
was
quality.
great. But man, Logan
He was so
looked,
pilled.
man, like,
Insane. Yeah,
it's like what? And the routine and just
the
yeah,
routine was yeah. Try to find
quality,
yeah, so sick.
crazy. And he just looks like he literally looks like a statue. Like he just looks like a statue.
Yeah, it's quality. You know what I
Mm.
found really impressive in Classic though was this guy. Did you see this guy?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
pilled. Look at his face. And like his glutes as well. Just so pilled. Quads are nuts.
Yeah, wow.
Poses really well.
Yeah, that conditioning. He looks like he
Like,
hasn't slept for like 2 weeks. Look at his
you
eyes.
know his aura ring stats are gonna be like, yeah, terrible. Just
Oh my
too hungry at
God.
night. That's such a nice shot. Um,
It's
what was
good.
I gonna say? Yeah, do you know this Carlos? Did you see him?
Yeah.
Someone's got to tell him you need to lose so much weight because if he came in pilled, he's got so much to come off. Like, yeah, if he came
Thing
in
though, because
pilled,
he's got irritable bowel disease.
oh really,
He's got Crohn's or yeah, he's got some sort of chronic autoimmune issue. So like when he gets pushed really hard, his body's just like, nope. Or
really,
like things just go, yeah. So I think that's why he's had issues before because he was gonna do the Arnold's Brazil last year, but he had to pull out because of that. One of the reasons was because of that. So
mm,
I feel
yeah,
like that's always just gonna be a bit of an issue just because of his health.
yeah,
Um, he's coached by Patrick Tour, and I feel like he knows how to get people in shape. Like he's probably looking at him. He's probably tried to get him push him further, but it's just his body's just not allowing it. It's
yeah,
just
yeah. I guess it, yeah, that makes sense. I feel bad now. I think sometimes this happen. You watch people and you're like, oh, they need to get lean, and you don't really know that there's something wrong. Yeah.
well,
Mm.
so we've got 5 minutes left, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got 5 minutes left for this podcast. Yeah, 40 minutes for the first episode. These will get longer, but one thing
Obviously,
we wanted to mention was questions. So, as this is the first podcast, there's not been the ability to get people to send in questions, but we would really like it now if you guys want to ask questions for us to answer in the next podcast. Just comment them down below in this video, any questions that you have, or you could even direct message me on Instagram and just say a question for the next podcast. We'll also put up Q&As on Instagram if you want us to answer them. But we had a few questions. We had a few. So, Elliot, why don't you start with some that you've got? We'll probably just do like one or two because I think, well, we'll do maybe a couple because we're going to run out of time.
yeah, I think approach. Okay, would I think yeah, one probably makes sense. Approach to bodybuilding training as a taller athlete. So any differences?
Well, I
So I
guess
guess
you should answer that. I can't
yeah,
answer this.
I think from my perspective, just everything's exactly the same. It's just understanding that things take a lot more time. You're probably going to have to eventually or at some point push your body weight up pretty high as well. Um, but yeah, I just think having a little bit more patience.
Mm,
And also, I think one thing that a lot of guys will tall do is they use it as an excuse to avoid certain movements or at least give certain movements a go. So before we started this podcast, I was saying to Adam, like, I was pulling from the floor, but it didn't quite work for me. But I still think that I got a lot out of that. I still think I've got a lot out of doing like barbell squats and safety bar squats and not thinking that you're limited just because you're tall. I think
mm.
that's the biggest issue a lot of people have. Um, yeah, because
Yeah, that makes
I
sense.
mean, you coach a lot of tall guys as well.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah. I mean, I coach this guy Josh. He's so tall, like so tall, and he's put on a lot of body weight, put a lot of body weight onto his physique in terms of same condition, and he's definitely improved a lot. But we can just see, I said this to him, like you just got to keep being relentless here. Like you got to keep being relentless with the process because you can see how much you've improved, but that's like 5 kilos, crazy amounts of body weight, like muscle you've added. That on a shorter individual is going to be like making a huge difference for you. It's just like you got to keep doing that until you get where you need to be. But yeah, I think one of the things I say, I guess, that springs to mind is like that kind of full range of motion for the sake of it approach. If you're really tall, you don't need to. You might not need to go through that same range. For example, like you're doing a shoulder press, don't do this and lock out. I would come back down to keep that tension on the delt because from here to here it's all tricep, and you've got really long arms. You're just gonna it's gonna make you almost unstable. And the same thing on a leg press and all those different presses, especially. Just there's a full range of motion you want to work through, but sometimes it's almost you do that and it's actually at detriment to your performance. Yeah.
then okay, sweet. And if you can, pick a different sport. But, I'm playing.
Yeah, but if you had that mindset, you wouldn't be on this podcast right now. So
There we go. There we
yeah,
go.
yeah, exactly. I still got to get on my questions. So did you have another one? What we'll do is we will when this time we've got 2 minutes. When this time runs out, we'll just set up another. We'll keep going. Um, yeah. What was the
Would,
other one you had?
would the recording end though, or we just cut and we just put them together basically?
Oh, the recording will end. I'll record another.
Sweet.
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, let's just do this now. We may as well do this now. Okay. Pause recording. Right, so we're back. And yeah, more questions. So I'll do a question that I received, and then Elliot can do his next one. Yeah, we'll probably wrap this podcast up in, like, I guess, 5 to 10 minutes still. But yeah, as the podcast progresses, it might get a little bit longer. We'll see. Let us know if you like what time length people would appreciate. Yeah, so someone asked a really good question about, is there any benefits of doing high reps to failure and some days low and then medium reps to failure? And I would say absolutely. When you're thinking about what's creating muscle growth, I would say anywhere between, people say, and I do somewhat agree, 5 to 30 reps is like kind of where hypertrophy can occur. However, there's a bit of a caveat to that. It's like you're doing 30 reps, you're going to get limited by pump, like lactic acid is going to build up a lot, and your ability to go to failure without like severe amounts of pain is going to be hard. So you've got to be a bit of a nutter to pull that off. And then secondly, your bracing is going to get affected and you're going to get very out of breath. So the quality of the reps you do when you get close to failure at that stage will be also a lot worse. But you can still build good muscle doing that. Now, the reason why, if you're thinking why we want to do high reps then, is because we're trying to push performance continuously over time. And the best way to do that is getting adapted to different loads. So moving a lighter weight for more reps and being in more confident control of it versus adapting to a really heavy weight and getting confident at that. If you get strong at a very heavy weight and do like 4 or 5 reps, when you go back down to doing 15 reps on a much lighter weight, that weight's going to feel like absolutely nothing even further. So you're constantly allowing yourself to adapt through different means, through different rep ranges. So I think it's a very smart thing to do to allow progress to keep moving forward, especially when you're very far into your growing phase and performance is now at a very high point, and you can't just every week chase that logbook and just go, I'm going to get another rep. I'm going to get another rep on this rep range. you will reach a point where you'll need to kind of move through different ones. Yeah. So
100%.
yeah, I guess that's I probably covered that all. Is there anything else that you would say with it?
Yeah, no, I think to it, it makes sense. I think from a safety perspective as well, like you said, when you're in the off season, you're getting to a certain level of strength.
Mm,
Not everything that you do in the gym can be a six repper. Like you need to think about,
yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah, and I guess also as say going back to that point really about safety, a higher rep work is a very good way of kind of getting warm and then going into a heavier set. So
Yeah,
that can be beneficial just to, making you feel more confident in the top set. But also, if you're limited for time and you don't want to do like five warm ups or whatever, I mean, you shouldn't really on isolations need to do that anyway. But if you just want to sometimes go straight in and your third exercise in, doing a high rep set can allow you to do that, really easily. You can just go straight in, do a 15 rep set, you're warm, now you do your heavier set. And there's no difference doing it that way around to the other, really. But yeah, that's
yeah.
a good question to be fair. So that was from Sinam. I'm not going to pretend now pronounce that
Get
name.
camped ready, bro.
Good question if you're watching the video. Yeah, yeah. You know who you are. That was a long surname as well. Shit. And
Uh,
yeah, what was the other question you had?
I had a question about music from my client Wayne. How does music affect performance in the gym? So I guess the best way to go about that is like, does music help you personally with performance? Because yeah, or what do you listen to when you're training to help you with your performance?
Mm,
So yeah, what's on your Spotify?
yeah. My friend Reese, I doubt he's watching this to be honest. I can't see him watching this video, but he listens to like Poker Face when he trains legs. I'm just like, how are you training legs to
No,
Lady
yeah,
Gaga?
no. There's this thing where like some guys will listen to like pop or like Ariana Grande or like they'll listen to Justin Bieber or something. I'm like, no, I've never understood that. I have never understood that. It would almost just be annoying for me.
Yeah. To be fair, Richard showed me his gym playlist, and I kid you not, he did like a 7 plate deadlift. Like it's a deadlift machine he was running for a bit. He did like a 7 plate deadlift to Cruel Summer, Taylor Swift.
Richard, like, yeah,
But he,
that's
he loves the Taylor Swift.
yeah, I just can't get on that for the gym.
Yeah, not for
That-
me, but yeah, some people they just they can vibe with it somehow. But I'm very much like epic music, heavy metal if I'm doing more like isolations. But for me, I need music that's very calming, but allows me to also feel like in a serious mood. I can get very switched on, fight or flight, be very alert, aggressive in a way, but also chilled out because your bracing is such a powerful thing when you train. Like it matters so much how you brace. And if you listen to really frantic music, like I used to train to drum and bass before I learned about bracing. And it's like, and you're just like massively quick reps. And yeah, it just, it takes away the quality of your training. So now it's Hans Zimmer, but yeah, like epic music. Sometimes it's really calm music. I've even trained to piano music sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I think, yeah, I'm kind of on this. I think when I was younger, I definitely just wanted the most amped up. Like, I still listen to that now every now and again, but it's almost for a different reason. It's not because I'm trying to like induce anger or
yeah.
just crazy about a set. It's just because at the time, that music actually just makes me feel good. Like, I'm enjoying listening to this music, and I want to listen to something that actually makes me feel good whilst I'm training.
Mm,
Not to
yeah.
try and like into a certain zone or anything like that.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, it varies. Like sometimes it's heavy metal, sometimes it's hip hop, sometimes it's like soul music, sometimes it's just like country. It literally
mm.
just
Yeah,
depends on
yeah,
how. Um, but it's all just to try and make me feel good before a set, to be honest.
yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes, to be fair, like I'll listen to the song and I'll be really into the song, but once I'm in the set, it's like I come out of the set and I don't really know what's playing, you know?
Don't even hear it. Yeah, don't even hear it.
Yeah,
Like going through a set of hinges or a leg press.
yeah,
You
it's
put on a
just back.
song.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
this. It's just
yeah,
no noise coming from it.
yeah, 100%. Nice. So we'll do this last question and then we'll wrap it up. But someone asked, what is it? I guess it says between, I'm going to try and decipher this, between just way less calorie intake during cutting phase or lowering calorie intake but increasing aerobic. So I guess you're saying what's the difference between just using food to create a deficit versus using food and increasing output and activity. So calories are calories, but you have to recognize that how you burning calories, that process is a stressor, and it is so much easier to consume 300 calories less and burn 300 calories. So such an easier process. So from a time perspective, but also a recovery perspective, you know, um, if you're doing burning 300 calories and you're really working your legs hard on a stairmaster and then you're training legs the next day, is not a good idea at all. So it's just about understanding that. And I do not like to push cardio on my athletes in prep much whatsoever. And if I do, I'll be keeping a close eye on their leg performance. But I'll always try and, cardio is kind of like a last resort when metabolically they adapt, and some people need very, very low food. It's like, okay, we're at a position where if I take more food away, we've got nothing here, and cardio will allow us to keep some food in. But if you are pretty fast metabolically and you can keep food high, I would say definitely avoid cardio. Steps is fine, but equally just don't go too excessive with the steps again. You want to make sure that you have more time to prioritize your sleep, your recovery, low stress, and just, being pretty calm with it. Yeah. So important in prep, especially though. Yeah.
I think to be honest, I actually think that's a really good point. I didn't actually think of that, where it's like, yeah, because adding in more cardio to the equation, it's just actually more time. It's literally
Mm.
more time that you've got to dedicate towards
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
each day, which again could be a problem if you're already ruined or you're already stressed out from the prep. Just adding in more time and more things to your routine could, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
which
That's it.
food. So
Yeah, and funny enough, so I was having a conversation with someone about like beer, and they're like, "Do you drink beer ever?" I was like, "No, why?" And it was like, "Well, it's not that I don't enjoy it. It's just the calories is crazy. Like 10 beers." I was just trying to explain to them how bad it is. Is like we were working it out, like how far would you have to run to burn off these amounts of beers?
right.
And that really put it in my head. I was like, geez, like that's why cardio is just such an ineffective way of creating a deficit. Like it's time. And for myself, especially, like, if you're very busy, I've got Milo and I'm working a lot with clients. I don't want to be, adding loads of time to my day on something that is gonna just be a difficult way of creating a deficit when I could just eat 300 calories less. And I don't mind eating less food. Like I'll be hungry. That's fine. For me, like prep, I much prefer being hungrier than tired and low energy and just feeling like I'm dragging. Yeah.
Yeah, I get you. I get
Mm.
you. Greg Doucette would disagree with you though. He
About
loves
about
he
cardio.
oh he loves he's like, yeah, if you're like in a position towards the end of a prep where you need to lose body fat, you need to crank up that cardio a lot. He's a very like cardio heavy.
Mm. Yeah.
Um,
So see, I'm honestly the opposite. Like I think cardio is great in the off season. Like if you need to, like if your insulin sensitivity is getting poor, your appetite's going down, cardio is amazing and you can tolerate it then and there's no issues with it from a recovery perspective. Yeah. So
Interesting one.
yeah. I haven't done cardio in God knows how long, which is like when you're in a growing phase, I would recommend it.
Yeah,
But just with my routine and with Milo, it's difficult because if I get on the bike and then I've got Milo, he'll come up and try and get on the bike. It's just doesn't work.
yeah,
And I'm so busy. But my leg progress has been amazing the last year, and maybe that is a coincidence, maybe it's not. But I like to think potentially, I'm really focusing on keeping my legs fresh for my leg training. In my head now, if I'm hammering cardio, I'm just thinking it's going to be taken away from that.
yeah. I've my perspective on cardio is completely different. I don't even look at cardio for myself as a fat loss tool. It's literally like I'm
health.
only doing this to keep my health in
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
exactly. That's what it's about.
Doing this to try and burn calories. I don't care about that really. It's just I need to make sure that I'm doing something other than weight training in the week.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
like I said, yeah, growing phase, amazing. Definitely recommend for your health, your heart health, insulin sensitivity, appetite, better
yeah,
use of food so you can recover better, 100%. But dieting, you don't need that. You're already going to use food so well. You're going to be so sensitive to food because you're leaner. So, but yeah, I think that is everything covered for this episode. Yeah, it's been good. I've enjoyed it actually. Just rambling on about bodybuilding.
there you go, man.
Yeah.
There you
Why didn't I do this sooner? Yeah.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was good fun, to be honest.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, absolutely.
definitely. Well, like I said, if anyone has any questions that want to be answered in the next podcast, feel free to leave a comment. Any feedback on the podcast would be so appreciated, given it is our first ever episode. If any topics want to be covered, any discussions want to be engaged with, you let us know. But yeah, I appreciate everyone tuning in because obviously this is the first ever episode. So you guys can say you were here from the start. If this goes anywhere. But yeah, we will be back very soon for episode 2. And until then, everyone have a good rest of, well, is it their weekend? It's the weekend right now, but probably isn't when you're watching this. But yeah, have a good rest of whatever it is. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video.